Hey everyone, welcome. Today is a really fun video. I have Michelle with us today. Michelle, as a mother of six, just earned an entire bachelor's degree in 5 months and 1 week after taking almost 30 years to earn an associate's degree. She almost started over with a bachelor's degree. It took her 5 months and 10 days using degree hacking. Michelle, welcome and
Thank
thanks
you.
thanks for joining.
So happy to be here.
So, that's kind of the gist of this. 5 months and 10 days is pretty incredible. Will you just share your story? Kind of give us an overview of your education journey before you found degree hacking, and then obviously we'll get into how you did this so quickly.
Okay. All right. You cut out a lot because 34 years might take a bit. No, I started college right after high school. The year I graduated, I started at a community college. I did 1 year and I paid for that out of my own money. And then I left for a religious mission. And that took some time when I got back. I had already, my boyfriend before I left, we rejoined and got married and started a family. And I pretty well thought that my, getting any kind of degree for later in if it was needed for a job that I didn't think I would get it. And so started our family. My husband has since the beginning made enough money to support our family. And so that hasn't totally been a problem or an issue. Here and there I've helped out a little bit, but basically taking care of the kids was something that I personally felt was the most important as a mother and what they needed spiritually, temporally to be successful, right? So that was kind of my goal, and school was kind of set aside and put in on the back burner. After our fifth child, that is when online programs came about through the internet and all of that. That was about, 2004-ish, but that's going to date me. But um, so I started with the University of Phoenix. It was $333 per credit hour for me to go to University of Phoenix. I don't know what it is now currently, but that's what it was. And I paid for it out of my own money. I hadn't learned much about what I could do as far as scholarships or grants. And so I just thought that if I was going to get a degree, it was going to have to be me paying out of my pocket. And so I paid for two classes that way. It may have been four classes. It was close to $2,000 just for 2 to 4 classes. Then our family moved and I got back into just taking care of family, taking care of home, and had kind of set that aside again. When we moved a few years later, decided let's just try going to a traditional college again. Maybe I'll just get my associates and be done with that. And I just always felt like I wanted our kids to know that getting a degree was important because I think mostly because it's important in the world we live in, right? You have to have a degree if you want to get any kind of a job. It doesn't matter how smart you are, how much you've learned. I've seen that, as I've talked with people in different careers that they had to have a degree if they wanted to move up in their company. And so I just kind of wanted to set that as a goal for myself and as a standard for our kids to learn from, like, this is a good thing to have if you want to be able to have some kind of success. It's sad, but that's the world we live in. So the education important too. And so I always wanted to just continue with that, continue learning. I got my associates after many times of going back, dropping out, going back, dropping out. I think it was about 29 years by the time I got my associates, and then transferred those credits to a traditional university that was about an hour from our home. And so I had to do that drive for a year. I did that. And it was really difficult. with still having young children at home, there were times that I could see that it was affecting our kids, that mom wasn't home, that when I was home, I was focused on doing all the homework that was required for that course, or whatever it was, having to be gone for a lecture and back. And so it was challenging financially, and and I think just for our family emotionally, it was hard. So there were times that I would quit and I'd be like, okay, it's time to be with my kids and I need to help take care of them. And then I'd go back. And so that was quite a bit of back and forth. And I can't even count how many times I dropped out and went back. It was a lot. I'd say maybe 6 or 7. Then this last move, just about 4 years ago, we moved closer to grandkids. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go back to a traditional university. I'm going to try this again. I had 89 credits that I had gathered. That's including my associates. So I had 30 something credits left, I thought, for my bachelor's. Looking at what I had to do for the degree I was in, it was going to be probably another 4 more years on top of what I had already done. And then I heard about you, Ryan. I heard about what you had done. And I don't want to embarrass you, but I was so inspired by what you did. I had learned that you did your degree from beginning to end in 9 months. And I thought, I have a lot of credits under my belt, I guess you could say. And so maybe some of those could transfer and maybe I could do this in 6 months. So I kind of set that goal for myself for one semester at university, 6 months. I didn't want to have to pay for any more than I had to. And still kids at home, trying to take care. They are older now. I guess I could say I'm 52. I just wanted to have it done. I wanted, even though my husband was taking care of our family financially, I thought if I lose my husband, I need to take care of this family. I need to have a degree so that I can get a decent job. And I needed to do it fast. It'd been over 30 years now, and 34 years to be exact. And I was like, it's time to have it. And it's time to be ready to take care of family if needed. But we also have a business. Our family has our own business, and I could help in that way as business manager. So that's what I did. And I set that goal and I had it on my wall. I had my goal up on my wall, and every morning, I'm a religious person. So every morning I prayed and asked God to help me, and he did. And it happened. And it wasn't easy. I'm not here to tell you or anybody that it was easy. It was very hard. But I knew if I could work a full-time job, go in the morning 8 o'clock, get home by 5 o'clock, then I could work a full-time job for my education. That's what I did. And if you're going to a full-time job, working 8 hours in a full-time job, and someone tells me, you can't learn anything in a full-time job working 8 hours, that's not true. You can learn a lot at a full-time job. Well, my education was my full-time job for those 5 months and 1 week. And I learned a lot in that time of earning that education.
Okay, this is amazing. Let me just kind of, at this point, you've brought us up to, you have met me, you went through your degree. For those of you listening, when Michelle transferred all of her past earned credits over, she changed major and everything, she lost a lot of credits. She only had 30 of those credits transfer in for the bachelor's degree. 30 credits is equivalent to like your freshman year. So she had 3 years of college left to go. And those 3 years she did in 5 months, in 10 days. I'm glad, Michelle, you brought up that you learned a lot. For those of you who don't know, I teach people how to earn college degrees faster. I taught Michelle my process. She went through and obviously was very successful. People reach out to me all the time, or they'll leave comments in my YouTube feed and say, no way, like there is no way you can learn this much material, what schools are telling you to learn. There's no way you can learn this much in less time. It's impossible, right? Can I just ask you, Michelle, you went through a lot of traditional college and you went through college the non traditional way using degree hacking. Can you compare the two as to like how much you learned going through traditionally versus how much you learned degree hacking? What are your thoughts there? Did you learn just as much? Did you learn less? Did you learn more? What are your thoughts?
I would say some things in degree hacking I learned more because I learned what I wanted to learn. There were a lot of things that I learned in traditional schools. There's only so much you can retain, right? And I knew that going into degree hacking because I had done so many years at a traditional school. And how much had I really retained from that? But I did retain a little bit, right? You do retain some. I knew going into this degree hacking that if there were things that I was going to retain, it was because that's what I wanted to retain. And because that's what happened in a traditional school as well. You learn what you want, you retain what you want to retain. I think I would like to say to those who think that you can't retain as much, this was my education during this time was set aside. This was my full-time job. I was committed to this. I wanted to learn. I taught myself how I learned best, and I used those techniques. And there was actually, I can share this experience. One of my professors, actually, it wasn't a professor, it was an evaluator for one of my finals during the degree hacking period. And they sent my final back saying you need some revisions and these are the things we want you to revise. These are wrong. And I sent a rebuttal saying this is why they're not wrong. I sent it back. They sent an apology. So I know that I was learning. There were things I was learning that I was retaining that were for my degree that I'm in right now, which is business management. Sometimes you'll learn more than your evaluators and your professors. So yeah, you can learn. You can learn what you want to learn. You can learn how you want to learn, and you can do it faster.
That's amazing. So I work with a lot of students, and something that stuck out to me with Michelle. I have a lot of students that have no desire to learn. They just want to get a degree really fast, get that piece of paper, dump all the information out of their brains, and move on with life, having the diploma. Michelle is one of those students that education was so important to her, and she poured her heart and soul into this degree, and she learned a lot. And just working together, she'd give me feedback, and she learned everything that she went to school to learn. Her goal was, as she mentioned, help her husband with the family business and take business knowledge to being able to manage the business. And you were able to get that out of that. The thing I want to kind of, I guess, stress to everyone watching, you don't have to learn the way the school tells you to learn. Homework assignments and textbooks and quizzes and study guides and lesson plans, these are all the school's system to keep us students for a really long time. And the longer we're students, the more money they make. And it's almost like a business model. Well, we have crazy technology on like in our pockets or purses with our smartphones. Like when you go to learn something these days, you're not going to the library and checking out a textbook. You're likely pulling your phone out of your pocket and you're learning really, really quickly with search engines or YouTube or AI. The thing that degree hacking does is gives you control over your own learning. You still have to take exams offered by the school and pass exams. You still have to learn what you're required to learn, but you're in control over how you learn those things. You're also in control of what you can skip. You don't have to listen to the teacher's lectures about their opinions. You don't have to go through all the fluff material that's not even on the final exam. You can skip those things. So this is what makes things different is you're taking control and you get to do it your way. So I'm assuming, Michelle, totally different experiences, your traditional college and degree hacking. For those that are just thinking about can I do this? Do you have any advice?
Yeah, definitely you can. I mean, I've seen many of your students who have accomplished it, Ryan, and I'm living proof that you can. But I think I want to stress that it's if you're going in thinking, oh, this is going to be a piece of cake, it's not. It's school. It's hard, it's challenging, and you have to set a goal and be committed to doing it. I woke up every morning. This is what I'm doing today. I'm committed to this goal. I've got to finish by this time. And I worked hard. I worked really hard. It was exciting to see after going through your program to see in the first, I think it was the first 4 weeks, I finished 12 classes. I tested out of 12 classes in the first 4 weeks, and my goal was a class a week. So to finish 12 classes in the first 4 weeks for me was so inspiring and so just it boosted my confidence that this is going to happen for me. You know, very few things in our lives we accomplish where we just feel this amazing reward. Family is one of them. You know, when you see your kids grow and accomplish things, that's a huge reward. But things like this, receiving a degree was huge for me. Maybe it's not a big deal for some people, but for me, it was a big deal. And to be able to see progression like that in the first 4 weeks, because of what I learned through your program, I cried. There were times that I cried. It was exciting to be able to know I could do that.
Well, when we're taught our whole lives, a bachelor's degree takes 4 years, right? Well, when life happens, everyone realizes, oh my gosh, this takes more than 4 years. Schools will never tell you this. The average bachelor's degree takes more than 5.5 years. Schools will always tell you four, but Michelle saying 12 classes in 4 weeks. For those of you that don't know how crazy that is, a bachelor's degree is generally about 40 classes. Well, spread over 4 years, that's about 10 classes per year. Michelle did more than a year of college in her first 4 weeks. It's incredible.
It was
Congratulations, because that's
exciting.
amazing.
Thank you. It was so exciting. And what I think what was exciting was to see that as we go throughout life, we learn things, right? We learn things naturally in who we speak with, in other jobs that we've had. I mean, I've had other jobs where I've worked in retail and different things, and you learn things and you retain things from those jobs and from that experience. And so to be able to learn what you have taught to test through those, that was exciting for me. It gave me a lot of hope.
Well, you obviously did a great job. I want to touch on briefly, you have 6 kids.
Hmm.
Something that I've learned from Michelle is that one of her sons is now going through this same process. She's got other kids that are interested. She also has older kids who have gotten their degrees the traditional way. For people watching who maybe have older children that want degrees, what are your thoughts for parents, I guess, introducing this degree hacking concept to their children?
So I think for both of my daughter that's interested in your program right now, my son that is interested in your program, he's not going to do it as fast as me. But that's because this was my full-time job, and I was very upfront. I encouraged him that he could do it faster than a traditional school, but he knew that 6 months wasn't possible because he's got a job right now. He's 22, and he's got a full-time job, but he comes home and he gets on school, and he should be able to finish his degree in the 2 years instead of 8 years or whatever it would take going to traditional school, or 10 years having a full-time job and trying to do one or two classes a semester. And it's a huge challenge and a lot financially. for him. So he's encouraged that he can get his degree even while working.
It's amazing. For those of you who are interested in just taking control over your own education, as Michelle has discussed, I have a program called Degree Hacking Academy. If you want to learn more about that, I'm going to leave a link down below in the description. You're welcome to go learn more about that. If not, that's okay too. My hope with my conversation with Michelle and you watching, I hope that you're inspired and know, I mean, if we can do this, a couple of adult students with busy lives, so can you. Anyone can do this if they have the desire. If you want a college degree, there are other ways. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you in the next video.